This is Cerebral Cinema. Movies of the mind.
This year, we were blessed with a mild winter in the Austin area. Unfortunately, that also means that we can count on a large bug and pest problem this spring. To combat those termites, ants, roaches, ticks, and other pests before they get out of hand, you can count on Roberts Pest Control. Roberts Pest Control is locally owned and operated and has been providing Austin with the best in complete pest control service since 1959. With termite swarming season beginning in April and continuing through May, call Roberts Pest Control now for a free home estimate. Their quality pest control service is fast and guaranteed. So before those termites, spiders, roaches, and fleas take over your house and yard, call Roberts Pest Control at 447-4925. Even if you've already tried the rest, go ahead and try the best. Roberts Pest Control, 1800 South Lamar, 447-4925. Visa and Master Charge accepted.
When you need to know, News Talk 590 KLBJ AM, Austin.
Part 2 of the golden age of radio theater this time. Barrie Craig, confidential investigator, starring William Gargan, and the case of the Philanthropist's Bride, broadcast May 7th, 1951.
Barrie Craig speaking. That's the name, Barrie Craig. You rent an office on the 3rd floor of the old Mercantile building. You've got a city license which says you're a confidential investigator. So, most of your life, you sit around and wait. Some of the guys in the business hire blondes and call them secretaries. Others confide in cab drivers, bend bartenders' ears, even buy dictating machines. Maybe it helps them forget that they're the loneliest guys in the world, because nobody really talks to you. The suspicious wives, the frightened parents, the desperate kids who walk into your office never even see you. To them, you're a license, a pair of ears, and sometimes a gun. Nothing human. And after a while, maybe you're not. It's open.
How do you lock this door?
There's a thing underneath the doorknob there. You slide it over.
Oh, yeah. You're Barrie Craig.
Yeah.
You're not doing very well, are you? I could write my name on the dust on your desk.
What name would that be?
Wilma Lord.
How do you do, Miss Lord?
Mr. Craig, have you ever killed anyone?
Not for a fee.
Will you answer a question about the weather?
I don't know much about the weather. But why'd you lock the door behind you, Miss Lord?
I can't have anybody see me here.
There's a woman comes around a couple times a week. I'll speak to her about the dust.
Well, that's not... I'm going to marry a man named John Waring.
Uh-huh.
He's older than I am, a lot older.
It's a question of taste.
He's rich.
Sweetens the taste.
We're going to be married in a few weeks. I want nothing to happen to that marriage. I'll hire you.
Cupid Craig, with a $sign in front of the Cupid. What do you think might happen?
Death.
Something wrong with Waring's health?
You've heard of murder, haven't you?
I've heard of it. Whose murder, yours or Waring? The door's locked. Whose murder?
I can't stay. Is there another way out?
Back of the water cooler. Leads to the back hallway and the fire stairs.
I'll phone you.
Sure. Yeah?
Get out of my way.
That gun a little heavy for you?
I said...
Okay. Well?
The dame. Where's the dame?
You don't look too good.
Where is she?
Got a name for her?
The dame. Look in the eye, seen her.
And now you want to take another look?
Want to give her back a night.
The floor stopped him. I kicked the door shut behind him. The knife he'd mentioned was angling out between the shoulder blades. I didn't want anybody to confuse him with a client. The homicide squad arrived and went to work. I don't like watching the boys. They're too smooth. I start thinking of all the stiffs they've practiced on. I shut my eyes.
Are we boring you, Craig?
Lieutenant Rogers, I've seen it all before.
Too bad. If only we could work out an entirely new approach. Then perhaps you'd watch us,
Stop being so tough, Trav. Everybody's forgiven you for having gone to college.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Craig, the story's no good.
The only one I've got on hand.
I'll tell you why it's no good. The punt there with a knife in his back was on the Harry Otis payroll.
Oh?
Wilma Lord is on the Otis payroll.
Must be a large payroll.
Among his varied and largely illegal activities, Otis also runs a supper club over on the east side. The Gilded Lily.
Mm-hmm.
You can have Wilma Lord for supper there 6 nights a week and twice on Sundays.
It's too early for supper.
The last couple of months, Otis has been very busy. Covering up.
The Crime Commission?
The Crime Commission. Mr. Otis is a very large target for them. He's been doing his best to shrink recently. Wilma Lord could have come to you because she planned to concertize with the commission and wanted protection.
Why me?
You're big. You're good-natured. And, well...
I'm stupid?
No. But you like to believe people when they give you a chance to.
What about the Waring angle? Did she pick him out of the phone book?
There is no Waring angle. John Waring happens to be a distinguished philanthropist. That means a guy with so much money he can give some of it away.
Thanks for the translation. I still believe Wilma Lord's story.
Why? Because she's young, beautiful? Because she looked you straight in the eye when she told you all?
No, Tram. Because she was nasty. Homicide wound up and went away. One nice thing about it, after they were through, the office no longer needed dusting. The clock in the church tower across the street made noises. So, after a while, did my stomach. But I was waiting for a phone call. Maybe the cops would get Wilma Lord before she could reach a phone. Maybe Wilma Lord had no intention of phoning me. I've been a sucker before. I prefer it to being a wise guy. So I listened to the bell, ignored my stomach, and was rewarded. Hello?
Mr. Craig?
Yeah,
Late, I thought you might have gone home.
I'm still here.
You're alone?
Yeah,
I've got to see you. That is, if after what happened you want to.
I want to. I always believe a client.
I didn't know you'd taken the case.
Where do we meet?
Well, not here at my apartment. It's too dangerous.
Wait a minute. Would there be a couple of cops sitting on your lap by any chance?
No.
Why not? They've got an alarm out for you.
Well, the apartment isn't in my name. Look, let's make it park, the 67th Street entrance, in an hour.
The park in an hour. Oh, Miss Lord.
Yes.
Don't bring a friend. I locked the office door. Nothing in the office worth stealing, but this way, maybe I could tempt a burglar. I felt underprivileged. I'd never been burgled. The park was close enough so I could take a couple of hamburgers aboard of Willie's wagon. A couple of hamburgers and a cup of the stuff Willie calls coffee. Willie keeps his coffee urn shined. I was facing it. What I saw in the urn looked like what you see in the distorting mirrors in the Coney Island Funhouse, except not so funny. Willie!
You got a complaint? Take it up with the mayor.
Take a look over my left shoulder, Willie.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You want I should pin a gardenia on it?
Somebody looking into the wagon had his face plastered against the window. I don't want to turn and tip him off.
Huh? You hitting the pipe again?
No face?
I bet you inhale, too.
Oh, forget it, Willie. He must have ducked. Here. Take that up with the Bureau of Internal Revenue.
Boy, you're throwing dough around. What's the matter? You had a horse in the fifth?
No. I had a corpse in the third. The park was half a dozen blocks over and west. I couldn't spot a tail on me, which didn't mean a thing. Good tails don't get spotted, especially working on me. I'm easy to keep in sight from a long way off. Nobody had moved the park around. The 67th Street entrance looked cozy and dark. I tossed a mental coin, came up heads, which meant I should go home and spend a few hours asleep. Then I cheated. I went on into the park. An investigator's job is a funny one. Either you play it hard and believe nobody, which is fine. It's safe. You stay out of trouble. Maybe after 10 years, you're growing ulcers because nobody likes you, but an ulcer never killed anyone yet. Or else you believe people. Then you've got trouble. You're not smart. Except maybe it's not a choice. It kept getting darker. Not a choice because it depends on the way you're built. The way I'm built, you stick your neck out. I did. Only warning was a slide of feet on the gravel path. afraid. Cheap.
The guy looks like he's returning to us, Mr. Otis.
He might have fractured his skull, Beeper.
Private eyes have got very thick skulls. All I know is I read about them all the time. Private eyes are always getting bopped on the skull. It don't bother.
It bothers me.
Beeper, help the gentleman. Never mind. Mr. Craig.
I've got a headache.
I'm sorry Beeper is so enthusiastic.
Send him over a little closer to me. I'll calm him down.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Craig. Beeper is armed. He was acting on instructions from me.
Was he supposed to bring me in alive? I'm not that funny. How did he find me in the park?
He trailed you there from your office.
Uh-huh.
Rather a cold, unpleasant night, Mr. Craig. You often walk in the park.
I managed to get there from time to time.
You wouldn't have been meeting anyone there?
I could use a couple of aspirin.
Beeper was perhaps a little impatient.
How was I supposed to know he had an appointment?
Beeper.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Otis.
Well, Craig?
I could still use those aspirins.
I see. Well, perhaps it isn't very important. What's more to the point, Mr. Craig, you had a visitor this afternoon.
I had lots of visitors, most of them in uniform.
I'm referring to the gentleman who preceded the police. The gentleman whose untimely death was responsible for the visit. You didn't happen to kill him by any chance?
The cops didn't think so.
They might be prejudiced. Also, you may have pleaded self-defense.
Otis, you know better than that. A man like you has pipelines to the department.
Very well. A question, then. What was the gentleman...
You mean the punk with the knife in his back?
...doing in your office?
He was dying there. Hey, I'm hearing music. A ringing in my ears?
A rather good little orchestra. They'd be insulted by your description.
Don't tell them about it. This wouldn't happen to be the Gilded Lily, would it?
You know the place?
Sure. Some of my best friends have had supper in it.
What was Jimmy doing in your office?
A punk? He might have been looking for a confidential investigator.
Oh? For what purpose?
To help him find his lost innocence, maybe.
Beeper.
I'm not joking. What job was he doing for you?
What makes you think he was doing anything at all for me?
He was on your payroll?
Indeed.
The cops told me. They're blabbermouths.
Pity about the civil service. Things would be so much easier otherwise.
You could buy more for less, huh?
You're not going to tell me why Jimmy came into your office?
I didn't say that. I'll tell you why. He was looking for the owner of the knife in his back.
Oh?
He never got around to telling me who it was. Would you like some information?
Very much. At what price?
We'll discuss that later. The information goes like this. Your boy came up in the elevator. He didn't have the knife in him then. He did have when he got to my office. So...
Someone presented him with a knife someplace between the elevator on your floor and your office.
Yeah. One thing more. It wasn't right outside the office door.
Oh?
He got it near the elevator. He went down. There were a couple of bloodstains on the hall floor indicating that. He went down, stayed down for a while, pulled himself to his feet, and made it to me.
Why?
You didn't like my previous suggestion?
No. Craig, whom did Jimmy follow to your office?
It'd be nice to know, wouldn't it? I mean, for me. Because you know, don't you?
You mentioned something about a price for the information. What price?
What do you think about matrimony?
I've no time to discuss philosophy at the moment.
Or philanthropy?
Beeper.
Yeah, Mr. Otis.
Up until this moment, I've been considering Mr. Craig an honest, if somewhat stupid man. Now, I'm not so sure.
Yeah?
Either of his honesty or of his stupidity.
I can get you references on both counts.
I would like to be sure, Beeper.
I take him apart?
Unless Mr. Craig would like to tell us another story.
I'm out of story.
You're in trouble, however. Beeper, we want Mr. Craig to explain his remarks about matrimony and philanthropy.
Yeah, hold it, Craig. I wouldn't mind plugging you in a leg, say. Give me an excuse. You're gonna stand and take it nice? Okay. Take it. I hope the gun barrel don't scare you permanent. How about putting your arms behind your back, huh? It's gonna start getting painful soon. Thanks. Now, hey, who? Opportunity knocks. No, Otis.
I've just inherited a gun. Beeper. You weren't expecting company. Mr. Otis, I've been knocked unconscious. I've been pistol whipped. Maybe I'm sore.
I wasn't expecting company.
Yeah, that's the reason people were startled. All right, open the door. Let's see who it is.
Hello, Mr. Otis.
The Marine. Hello, Trav.
Hi, Craig. Mind if I come in?
The office belongs to Otis.
You're holding the gun.
That belongs to Beeper.
Beeper? He's lying down. Tired?
He ran into a doorknob. Have a gun on him.
Thanks. Who knows? Maybe he has a license for it. We'll see.
Exactly what do you want here, Lieutenant?
We've had the place staked out. Nobody we were interested in showed up. I got the report that a big man was carried in. Turns out it was Mr. Craig.
That's how it turns out.
The place staked out? And you're looking for...
If nobody minds, I'll get up.
In a hurry, Barrie?
I'm late.
For what?
A date.
Now, wait a minute. Way it looks, you were slugged and brought here.
I guess it does look that way.
You could prefer charges.
It was all in fun.
That welt across your face doesn't look funny.
One of the reasons I'm in a hurry.
What?
I want to have the nasty little bruise kicked away.
You're listening to Barrie Craig, confidential investigator on the golden age of radio theater.
When you're overweight, a day on the sales floor can make feet scream. High heels, forget it.
Extra pressure flattens out your natural cushioning, that tissue on the bottoms of your feet.
My knees, my hips, my back, with 12 extra pounds, every step jolts your whole body.
Dr. Scholl's insoles can help. Dr. Scholl's special DS6 air compression process creates shock-absorbing protection and cushioning comfort in one thin insole. So the insoles help take the pounding, not your feet. Dr. Scholl's insoles at the yellow display.
Take the pressure off your feet.
Once again, our star, William Gargan.
Lieutenant Rogers didn't argue with me. He wanted conversation with Otis and Beeper. Nobody had mentioned Wilma Lord yet. Not Otis, not Trav. But they were thinking of her. So was I. I tried the park. A couple of hours had died since the appointment, but I had to make sure. I made sure. Maybe Wilma Lord had been waiting for me. Maybe not. Either way, she wasn't waiting anymore. Trav would annoy Otis for a while. He had nothing to hold him on. He had nothing to hold Beeper on. For a while, Otis and Beeper would be busy with the lieutenant. After that, they might be busy about something else. I remembered Trav's definition of a philanthropist. I could use some money. My name is Barrie Craig.
Yeah?
You're John Waring?
I am.
Mind if I come in?
It's rather late.
So late you sent the butler to bed, huh?
Well, that is hardly... Who did you say you were?
Barrie Craig.
Should I know you?
Yes.
Why?
Because you're a philanthropist.
Good night.
I didn't finish. Because you're a philanthropist about to get married.
Come in.
Thanks.
In here, if you please. Now then, your name is Barrie Craig. You're a reporter, perhaps?
Not exactly.
Then why your interest in my...
Marriage? I've been hired to make sure it goes through on schedule.
Hired? By whom?
Your fiancée. Didn't I use the right word?
You mean Miss Lord?
How many girls were you planning to marry?
Mr. Craig, I permitted you to enter my home because you seem to know about my marriage. I didn't expect you to insult me.
I'm sorry. Blood gets on my nerves.
Blood?
A man was murdered in my office today.
And that's why...
That's why what?
Nothing. This man was murdered. Had he any connection with...
Your marriage?
Yes.
What do you think?
I can't think anything about it. I'm confused.
So confused you haven't thought of offering me a drink?
I beg your pardon. Oh.
Yeah. I could almost think you were expecting me. That's 2 glasses you've got sitting on that coffee table. With the drinks in them. One's rye by the color, the other...
Mr. Craig, you're in my home.
Looks like creme de menthe. A girl's drink.
I suppose it's too much to expect the behavior of a gentleman from a confidential investigator.
Yeah. We're the sorted type. I had an appointment with Miss Lord.
She kept it, didn't she?
Why don't we ask her?
Ask?
Nice drapes you've got. Pity they don't quite reach the floor.
Now, look here, young man.
Never mind, John.
Hello, Miss Lord.
Hello.
Did you decide the park was too cold at this time of the year?
What made you come here?
You wouldn't be holding up in your apartment, listed in your name or not. The cops are bright nowadays.
Well,
where else would you duck for cover? It was simple. Lucky for me, it was simple. I get confused easy.
what do you want?
You hired me to do a job. I believe you. I always believe my clients. Sometimes I'm suckered, sometimes not. Because sometimes clients don't expect to be believed.
I resent all this.
Don't be in too big a hurry, Mr. Waring. Miss Lord was afraid that the marriage was going to be interrupted by murder.
Murder?
She didn't get around to telling me whose murder, yours or hers. Because another murder happened to somebody else.
I didn't...
Somebody on Harry Otis's payroll. Whose idea was this marriage?
I asked Miss Lord to be my wife.
And she said yes. Why?
I love... You don't have to laugh at me.
Harry Otis. You were on his payroll, too, Miss Lord. The Crime Commission was getting ready to ask him questions about his business, his tie-ins with officials, his backers.
I must ask
you... were going to say leave. Let's pretend it was explained. Wilma Lord's young. She's beautiful. Maybe she could have wrangled a marriage offer out of you anyway. But her working for Otis can't be a coincidence. Sure, you asked her to marry you. After she told you she knew about your connection with Otis?
My connection?
Financial. Dollar bills don't have pedigrees on them. That's a shame. How many of the dollar bills making up your bank account came out of Harry Otis's dirty enterprises?
This is absolutely unwarranted.
No. Up until 5 minutes ago, it was a guess. A stupid guess. Because I couldn't figure any other reason for the whole deal. Now it's not a guess anymore.
It's not a guess anymore.
Hello, Otis. I've been expecting you. And the gun.
That's nice. Beeper's outside with a gun, too.
And the car? With the motor idling?
Another stupid guess?
Sure.
The stupid ones give the most trouble. If you'd had brains enough, Craig, you'd have stayed out of this.
I couldn't. I was hired. By Miss Lord.
I had to, Harry.
I had you set up. Waring was going to marry you, so you couldn't testify against him. Why'd you bury the knife in Jimmy's back?
I didn't.
I had him on you all the time.
Would you have had any reason for killing him, Otis?
What reason?
Not even a stupid guess.
Otis.
Yes.
This squabbling. It's unpleasant. And a waste of time.
Meaning what?
Whatever Miss Lord did or didn't do, Mr. Craig is now in a position to inform the Crime Commission of
our business association?
Yes. That would be disastrous. Not only for myself, but for you as well. I hesitate to suggest anything violent, but...
But what choice have we got?
Precisely.
No, there's been...
Get up, Wilma. You've still got Jimmy's death to account for.
Oh, you...
Miss Lord.
What?
Don't drink that.
What are you talking about? Took my drink away.
You in a hurry to die?
The man is insane.
Otis. Yeah, Otis. The man looking for a murderer.
What was wrong with the drink?
Another guess. A solid one this time. Wilma Lord's wanted by the police for the murder of your punk. Wilma Lord disappeared. Suppose she died in this house. Waring would have the body what? Buried? Burned? Either way, no more Wilma Lord. The cops would spend the next century looking for her. The case would be closed.
No.
Also, John Waring wouldn't have to marry her. He'd be rid of a witness against him. What he had in mind for you, Otis, I wouldn't know. But he had something in mind. Then he'd be free. He could go on being philanthropic.
It's childish melodrama.
Murder's melodrama, only it's not childish. Mr. Waring, when I walked in here, you asked me if I was a reporter. The gag being you'd never seen me, heard of me before. But a little later on, you said something about a confidential investigator not being a gentleman.
You must have followed me, too.
You said Wilma Lord had kept her appointment with me. How did you know? If she told you, you wouldn't have confused me with a reporter. If she didn't...
Wait a minute. He was checking on her because he was planning to get rid of her.
But your boy Jimmy spotted him on the 3rd floor where my office is. Nobody else would have had any motive for killing him. Waring had to because it tipped his hand about his plan for the girl.
Nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Then suppose you drink this, huh?
I detest condiment.
Drink it, Waring.
I shall leave now. I find this highly
deceitful. Drink it.
You're being a fool. A fool.
Had to be done.
Done. The reason I knew the drink was poisoned. Take a sniff at it, Otis.
Don't bother.
A deep sniff. So sorry. Got it in your eyes. Thanks for the gun.
You...
Mustn't lose your temper. Waring killed Jimmy. Sure. But you had to kill Waring, didn't you? If you'd turned him over to the cops, he'd have blabbed. The Crime Commission.
Beeper!
Beeper? You know something, Otis? You must be a sinking ship.
May 7th, 1951, the Golden Age of Radio Theater has presented Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator. In just a moment, a listener from Albuquerque, New Mexico wants to know what show referred to the lonesomest mile in the world. I'll be back to answer that in just a few minutes.
So I asked them why.
Who?
Goodyear.
Why?
That's what I asked them.
Oh.
I asked them about the sale they're having, the bestseller sale on their Arriva all-season radio tires.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, they've sold 23 million of the darn things already.
Gee.
I said, if people are going to buy 23 million Arriva radio tires, you don't have to cut the price on them for crying out loud.
So, what are they doing?
Who?
Goodyear.
They're having the sale anyway.
Why?
That's what I asked them.
Who?
Goodyear, take me home. Sale ends April 25th at participating Goodyear retailers.
If your gasoline's not super clean, you may have trouble getting started. Because many gasolines don't have enough detergent to keep your fuel injector or carburetor clean and running smooth. But with new Phillips 66 Super Clean Unleaded and Super Clean Premium Unleaded, as little as one tankful can clean your engine to run like new. And you can depend on Phillips 66 to help keep it clean. Super Clean Unleaded gasolines. Clean up and keep clean gasolines from Phillips 66.
Presidential assailant John Hinckley is spending this Easter Sunday at a mental hospital in Washington after a federal judge decided not to allow him to make an unescorted visit to his family in Virginia. The judge, Barrington Parker, told CBS News broadcast Face the Nation that it was a hard decision to make, but an even harder one is whether he should ever be allowed to go free because he was never convicted of a crime.
If the testimony, if the facts support it, certainly you must consider it. But I, as well as any other responsible judge, would be aware of the fact that a person has been completely maimed for life, and you can't help thinking of deciding it based on the merits.
Judge Parker said Hinckley, who was found to be insane at the time of his attempt to kill President Reagan, could at some time be judged cured and therefore legally no longer could be held in custody. The government says one area of crime is declining, but despite a 17% drop, nearly 15 million Americans were robbed during the decade beginning in 1973, and one-third were injured in the process. As to robbery targets, Justice Department statistician Carolyn Wolfe Harlow says the victims are not usually wealthy.
People who are likely to be robbed are males, blacks, the young, those that are less than 25 years old, persons who are divorced, separated, or have never been married. The poor and residents of central cities are disproportionately robbed.
The study says the average loss from a robbery is $447, and most of the losses are never recovered. The New York State Thruway Bridge collapse earlier this month has claimed more victims. One person was killed and 3 critically injured in a head-on crash of 2 vehicles on the detour caused by the bridge accident. 10 people were believed killed when the bridge fell into the raging creek on April the 5th. Several bodies are still missing. Now this.
Does the personnel assistant of a major insurance firm ever require the services of temporary help?
Yes, we do. Quite a lot.
When you need temporaries, what service do you call?
I call Kelly.
Kelly Services?
The Kelly Girl people.
Why do you call Kelly?
Because I know that they will be able to match exactly what I need. I will give them a detailed description of the assignment. Most of the time, the skills that we're looking for will be clerical and secretarial skills, typing, filing, sorting, collating, putting packets of information together.
You get all these people from Kelly Services?
Get all these people from Kelly Services.
And they're qualified?
As a matter of fact, I have certain department managers that will request that we get a temporary from Kelly Services because they have had bad experiences with other services in the past.
Do you think I could talk you into using one of the other temporary services out there?
You can have them all.
Kelly Services, the first and the best?
Nobody does more to make sure I get the right person for the job. I love that. Makes my job easier.
And you get your money's worth with Kelly Services?
Get my money's worth. I'm sticking with the winner.
High Japanese and American officials are preparing for talks aimed at avoiding an all-out trade war. Former Japanese Foreign Minister Shintaro Abe has left Tokyo with a personal letter for President Reagan, and the chief U.S. trade negotiator Clayton Yiter has landed in Japan, where he delivers a key speech tomorrow at a conference of business leaders. The U.S. wants Japan to open up to more American business. The Japanese want Washington to scrap trade sanctions that went into effect last Friday. Mitchell Krause, CBS News.
You need to know. News Talk 590 KLBJ AM, Austin.
Cerebral Cinema hopes you have enjoyed this movie of the mind.